It's August 1st. The much awaited tariff deadline is here, and countries are bracing for the tariffs imposed by the US. Trump has released a new list like the last one, but this time it shows bias to those who kneeled. Let's take a look at this new tariff list. Afghanistan faces 15% tariffs, Algeria at 30%, Bangladesh at 20%, Bosnia and Herzegovina at 30%, Botswana at 15%, Brazil at 10%, Brunei at 25%, Canada at 35%, EU at 15%, Fiji at 15%, India at 25%, Indonesia at 19%, Iraq at 35%, Israel at 15%, Japan at 15%, Kazakhstan at 25%, Laos at 40%, Libya at 30%, Malaysia at 19%, Mauritius at 15%, Moldova at 25%, Mozambique at 15%, Myanmar at 40%, New Zealand at 15%, Pakistan at 19%, Philippines at 19%, Serbia at 35%, South Africa at 30%, South Korea at 15%, Sri Lanka at 20%, Switzerland at 39%, Syria at 41%, Thailand at 19%, Turkey at 15%, UK at 10%, and Vietnam at 20%. Now, if you look at this list, you know that India is in a bad shape here because most of South Asian countries have lower tariff, and that makes Indian goods less competitive in the market, meaning Indian goods will now be costing more in the US markets, triggering people to buy less Indian goods. This is the first worry for India. Second, Indian economy will be impacted due to lesser exports and more tariffs. India-US trade stands at $130 billion. India exports $88 billion worth of goods to US and imports only $42 billion worth goods. These exports are 17% of India's total and 2.2% of India's GDP. As per GTRI report, Indian exports could shrink 12 to 18% due to this. Sectors like telecom, electronics, gems and jewelry, food and agricultural goods, textile and more will be impacted sharply due to these hiked tariffs. And third, on top of this, 25%, which includes Russia's penalty, there are also auto tariffs and steel and aluminium and copper tariffs. But well, what happened to that negotiation lasting for months? All that just for 1% concession? Well, the US said that the issues with India are complex and cannot be solved in a day. And well, India has responded to. India has said that it has taken a note and is considering and studying the implications of these tariffs. It further said that the two countries have been engaged in ongoing trade negotiations aimed at concluding fair, balanced and mutually beneficial agreement. So they are looking at a long-term deal. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal in a statement said that any deal will be in India's interest and will protect farmers, Indian businesses and MSMEs. But what are these issues that India and US are facing? India is ready to open up its market to an extent, but Trump wants more. He wants zero tariffs on goods imported from the US and wants to impose tariffs on goods that US imports from India. That's more cost for Indian businesses. The exports will get expensive. But the problem is most countries have already agreed to Trump's tariffs and has knelt in front of Trump. India still wants to protect its interest, and meanwhile it is diversifying trade and having deals with the UK and upcoming deal with the Europe. But Trump's tariffs also mean bad for the US, especially for the common American. He imposes tariffs and shows good numbers, saying that he has almost eliminated the trade deficit with most countries. But at what cost? An average American. A Yale report suggests that Americans will face a surge in household expenses and slow down in the economic growth of the US due to these tariffs. In an average, it would result in a short-term income loss of about $2,400 per American household. Tariffs are expected to drive up prices of goods like shoes, handbags, textiles, medicines, and more. More job losses, slow GDP growth is what economists are expecting after these tariff announcements. Tariffs were supposed to narrow the trade deficit, but firms are just importing now to escape tariffs, and exports have barely moved, researchers say. So it does not look good for both countries, and it's better to find a middle ground and seal a deal as soon as possible instead of Trump targeting India with statements like dead economy. Because if a deal is not cracked, the only thing dead would be Trump's approval rating, and that's already dying, by the way.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now. If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.